Ink was found at the crime scene on the notes found, and it was also found on each of the suspects because each of them had a pen. In this Show Me, I'll show you how you can use a method called chromatography to find the RF values of each of the inks, and how we can then compare those RF values to see if one of the suspects had the same ink in their pen as was on the note at the crime scene. This is the equipment each group will need: a 25ml measuring cylinder, a pair of scissors, 5 capillary tubes, 2 sharp pencils, a 30cm ruler, a spotting tile, 180cm of chromatography paper, a 250ml beaker, 25ml of water, and a few drops of each of your ink samples. There will be 5 in total. You will also need to use a stapler. The first thing you need to do is cut your chromatography paper into pieces. Each piece needs to be 12 centimetres long, and you'll need 15 pieces. Cut the paper using scissors. Next you need to make some markings. From the end of the paper, which will be at 0, you need to make a mark at 2 centimetres, and you should make another mark at 9 centimetres. Make the marks using your sharp pencil. Then use the ruler to make a clear line where your marks are. Next you're going to use your capillary tube to pick up a small amount of your first ink sample. Then touch the dot very gently on the 2 centimetre line to leave a small mark on the chromatography paper. Next you need to fold over the top of the chromatography paper so that it lines up with the line at 3 centimetres. Get a stapler and put a stapler to secure the fold in place. Thread the chromatography paper loops onto one of your pencils and then repeat so you have 2 more pieces of chromatography paper, each with a dot from the same ink. These are going to be your repeats. Next you need to use your measuring cylinder to measure at 25ml of water and then pour the water into your beaker. The water is going to be the mobile phase in this chromatography experiment, and the paper is going to be the stationary phase. Place the pencil over the top of the beaker so the chromatography strips are hanging down. The bottom of the paper should just be in the water, but it's very important that the dots are not in the water. Take the chromatography paper off the pencil and before it dries, mark on the top of the water using a pencil. This is called the solvent front. Then leave your chromatogram, which is what your finished chromatography is called, to dry. Once your chromatogram is dry, you need to circle the different dots. They might not be very clear, but do your best to mark exactly where the top of each colour is. Once your chromatogram is dry, you'll need to stick it to a sheet of paper, and you'll need to label it carefully in pencil. Make sure you say which sample it is and which repeat it is. You need to show the start line, and then the top of each dot. So the top of the red dot should be here. They've marked it a little bit badly on this example. The top of the yellow dot's here, and the top of the blue dot is the same place as the solvent front. It's very difficult to be accurate choosing where the top of your dots are. You'll need to talk about this in your conclusion and evaluation section. Use your ruler to measure the distance from the start line to the top of each dot and mark that on your diagram as well. Make sure you mark your distances in millimetres and mark to the nearest millimetre so you have no decimal points. Once you've finished, you can record your data into a table.